51. I mean, Studio 51. I'm sorry. Got a little confused after seeing some midget green men walking around the set during the last commercial break.
They prefer to be called little aliens. And on another note, have you heard about senior bus drivers?
Yeah, those old silver foxes are terrible drivers.
No, I'm not talking about old people. I'm talking about seniors in high school.
Driving a bus?
Oh yeah. The laws that are in place allow for 18-year-olds with 2 years of driving experience to drive our elementary schoolers to school.
Seems legit. Everyone knows that teenagers are the most responsible drivers on the road.
That's what I'm saying. Let's go to James Flame in the field.
I'm here in the urban jungle known as Enlow High School with one of Wake County's bus drivers.
Yeah, so I'm going to be driving the little kiddies around on my big bus today.
Do you think you're responsible enough for this job?
Of course, I'm an amazing driver.
And how old are you?
I'm 18, woo!
And where do you go to school?
I go to Brown High School.
Very nice. How's your driving record look?
Well, actually, I'm a really good driver. I had a few accidents my first year, but in the past year I haven't had any tickets or accidents.
Well, your driver's record right here says you had 17 accidents your first year and 10 parking tickets. But since then, you've been doing pretty good.
Thanks.
Mind if I interview some kids on your bus?
Of course, I let anyone get on my bus.
So, how is it like riding the bus with Miss Cotton?
Well, she likes to talk on her iPhone a lot when she's driving. And once she hit this car that wasn't moving, but she told us to keep it our little secret. Oh, and once she offered me this really weird smelling apple juice, but I didn't want any, so I said no thank you.
Why do you think bus drivers are allowed to be so young these days?
I guess the county can't afford to keep up with the rapidly growing urban population.
And how did the U.S. move from such a rural nation to an urban nation so fast in the first place?
That's a good question. Maybe we should check with our history expert. You know, he has all the answers. So let's go to Paul.
You know, America didn't come and become the great power it is immediately. It came with the hopes and dreams of thousands and thousands of immigrants coming from European nations. The Irish, the Scots, the English. All coming. All looking to hit it big, strike it rich, to fulfill the American dream. It's not an easy process. Many, many days were full of struggle, hardship, death. But slowly but surely, it's grown. America has become an amazing industrialized urban nation. Right now, we're walking along the tracks of the train lines that run throughout America. These lines connected America and allowed for shipping and transportation. Most notably, the transportation from the country into the city. When agriculture began to decline, it caused people to move into the cities, because in the cities there were jobs, and in the jobs there were hope. From these hopes came dreams, and in the city, the dreams could become reality. See, just with all the opportunities, as more and more people came, you could create any business you dreamed. Henry Ford, creating the automobile, just so easy of making a moving assembly line, just revolutionized everything. It was phenomenal. It was amazing. truly, that is just one of the greatest lights of urbanization. That in one place, you can have access to anything you could possibly want. I mean, you have your raw materials, sure, they're out in the country, but through trains and other methods of transportation, they're brought into you. You then have a dense population of people with very specialized skills and even unskilled labor to just do whatever. And it's phenomenal. And throughout the ages, cities have changed and transformed and grown from little towns, small 2-3-story buildings, towering skyscrapers. And that's what we see today. I mean, it's the city of Raleigh. It's beautiful, really. But unfortunately, it's not without effect. You don't see the towers of smoke billowing from factories on this city. But you hear the sound of traffic going by, of the exhaust shooting out and polluting the air. The chemicals from factories being pumped into creeks and streams, rivers. Crabtree Creek is one of the nastiest, most polluted places that I can think of right now. There's signs actually posted along the trails that go along its banks saying these fish are hazardous to eat, especially in large quantities. Pollution is a great downfall to urbanization. Urban bosses in early America took over the cities. They swayed political vote through physical force sometimes, but often just terror and intimidation. The city brings out the best in people, but it also brings out the worst. But you know, even though it is so polluted and the cars just go by and clog up the air, there is hope. Green energy is growing. Alternate fuel, it's a growing national matter. And even though the cities continue to grow, continue to expand, as they're being built, new technologies are being developed to make them more environmentally friendly. It's not all bad. It's not all good. But the hope and the dream is that we can find a balance in the middle.
Wow, Paul, that was a lot. That was a lot of information.
Now, for a more interesting topic, overpopulated school buses. Many Wake County school buses seem to be transporting more students than the carrying capacity on each bus allows.
You know, that reminds me a lot of European immigration to the United States during the late 19th and earliest centuries. You know, a lot more people were coming in than they were supposed to.
An urbanization problem of the 21st century is the number of students that ride buses. Many buses in Wake County exceed their carrying capacities. This compromises the safety of children getting to and from school. This is a Wake County bus that only transports students from Enloe High School. As you can see, there are many students getting on the bus. More students than there are seats for. The bus shown has 24 seats. That means that the maximum seating capacity for students in high school is 48 students, or 2 per seat. As more students get on the bus, we can see that all of these seats are already filled, forcing some students to sit 3 to a seat or even stand up. Here are some facts. Because the triangle is so large, it is not reasonable to go everywhere without the help of cars or other fast transportation. The number of households in the area without their own car has raised to 32,000. 28% of North Carolina's population is expected to live in the Triangle in the next 17 years. Employment is most concentrated in the Triangle's university or medical centers, the Research Triangle part, and the downtown areas. This results in a large amount of traffic in those areas. Transportation is causing water and air pollution throughout North Carolina. By the next generation, the Research Triangle region is predicted to add 1 million more people. This growth is planned to extend outwards from the urban areas. Overcrowding on school buses is a dangerous problem that needs to be solved. How has urbanization changed our lives over the past century? There were many notable changes, such as a higher standard of living and an increase in public transportation. Problems like pollution and overcrowding also worsened. In 1900, Raleigh's population was just over 13,000, making it the 5th largest city in North Carolina. Raleigh is now the 2nd largest city in the state with a population of about 400,000. Due to this increase in population, the government has failed to keep up with providing adequate public service, resulting in extreme overcrowding of schools and public transportation. More factories are being built and more cars are used. They continually pollute the atmosphere and produce heat by burning fossil fuels.
European immigration was the source of nativism. Immigrants provided cheap labor which allowed for businesses to subdivide tasks, increase productivity, and worsen working conditions. Immigrants also fueled boss rule because they favored the benefits and services such as naturalization, jobs, and housing that political machines and bosses provided over the morality behind their votes. Immigrants had a large political influence by 1910 because immigrants made up more than half the population of 18 major American cities.
Thanks for that lovely presentation. I'm afraid we won't be able to get to our story until after this commercial break.
I'm running for governor of Raleigh. And I should be governor because I'm awesome and I'm not being controlled by urban bosses like those local weak governments of the 18 and 1900s. Because they were just like, oh, we're gonna just be subdued to the urban machine. And it was like, oh gosh, let's help the immigrants. So they'll vote for us because they're poor, and a lot of urban bosses were immigrants. And so they're just like, we'll help you out, and you guys can vote for us, and we'll go into power and control the whole political system, which they did. So that made local governments weak because they couldn't do anything because urban bosses were like, no, we're going to tell you what to do. And then, but yeah, that's why you should vote for me, because I'm my own candidate. I will outlaw discrimination because I can totally do that. I will outlaw every show except for SpongeBob if I'm voted governor. If I'm governor, I will outlaw outhouses. I will give funding to the unicorn breeding programs, and everyone will have a unicorn. If I'm governor, I will put one unicorn in every household in Raleigh.
you or a loved one ever been injured by the All-American Hand Remover? If so, my firm can compensate you. We here at Smith & Co. can find the right people and Hey! You gosh-darn Mexicans taking all our white people's jobs. Who gives you the right to be here? ¿Tú hablas inglés? Eh? Hey, I'm talking to you.
After midnight, we're gonna let it all hang out. After midnight, we're gonna chug a lug and shout. After midnight.